had the chance to have a conversation as a student or young professional with the man or woman behind the big title, what questions would you ask them? My name is Pamela Mukwenha, and today I get to sit down with Mr. Ajen Sita, the CEO of EY Africa, to ask just some of those questions that young people would like to know.
EY is a global professional services company with global revenues of approximately 400 billion rand and over 200,000 employees. Ajen Sita is the CEO of EY Africa. He led the integration of EY across 33 African countries. Ajen joined the firm at the age of 22 as a trainee accountant. He became a partner at the age of 28. He was appointed head of the EY Entrepreneurial Services Division at 30. He then became the South African Head of Audit at 35 and the Africa Assurance Leader at 37, leading to his current role as CEO of EY Africa at 39 in 2010.
Once upon a time, you were once a student. You were once in high school. You were once writing your matric. And with that in mind, I have a theory. I believe that when you were in high school, you were that student who would always remind the teacher that there was homework. Am I right?
I would not describe myself as a top student in school or in the university program.
Wow.
You know what's interesting as you mark some of those milestones that I have achieved. What probably characterizes it is hard work. From school to university to getting into the corporate world. If I try and find a common thread, it's actually hard work rather than strong academic achievement.
So would you say that comes from your upbringing?
I grew up in a family where both my parents never finished high school, so there weren't any role models around. And from an early age, my parents realized the importance of education. They realized that if their children were to have a better life, it was going to come through education. So from an early age, they instilled the importance of education. And more importantly, they instilled a curiosity of there's a world beyond this limited isolation that the then South African government had created under apartheid. So it was creating a curiosity that there's more to life, there's more to the world, and that spark of curiosity is actually what created the interest in learning and development and growth.
So as an employer, what are some of the things you look out for when students are coming fresh out of university looking for a job?
I recall in the 90s when I was applying to the large organizations for a job. People were interested in my reports, and you had to produce good marks, otherwise you're not going to get the entry requirement. I took on the role of chief executive of EY about 6 years ago. One of the things we did back then, about 6 years ago, is we changed our entry requirements. We no longer were looking at your marks as a deciding factor for whether we would recruit you or not. So what were we looking at? We were looking at, in the same way that I grew up in my career, we're looking at people who were consistent in their studies, whether that's school or university, people who had passed all of the exams, but people who had broader attributes than just academic performance. So we try to assess people's potential, their curiosity. How do they invest in themselves? Do they approach learning? Are they constantly seeking new information? So what we're looking for is not just people who come with a university degree.
Yes.
Because learning doesn't end once you have your degree.
Yes,
so
true.
we're looking at people who understand that learning is a lifelong process. So what are you doing what do you do to keep investing in your personal growth? How do you learn about developments in the world? How do you replenish, knowledge that has maybe become obsolete? Are you dependent on the employer providing it to you, or do you do it on your own? So that's one of the attributes.
And this is something you can test from someone's CV?
You can, because through the conversations you have with people, you might be interested in. So, what books do you read? What magazines do you read?
Yes.
When you go online, what do you find yourself doing? If they say, well, all I'm doing is on the social media sites, and I'm connecting and chatting with my friends. Well, we're interested in that because we want to know that you're a sociable person, you get along with people, you want to understand your role within that. But we're also interested to know, are you going online and are you reading about world news, world events? We might ask you your views on the state of the world today. What do you think leaders should be doing? And your ability to have insights or perspectives and opinion starts to tell us the kind of individual you are.